Hello friends. In our earlier discussion on protection, we have seen tariff as one of the most important form of trade restriction. Today, we will focus on what should be an appropriate rate of tariff by looking at the concept of optimum tariff. Welcome to the session. The concept of optimum tariff basically explores what should be an appropriate rate of protection. We have seen that tariff being one of the most important form of protection, and we will be looking at the rate of tariff that maximizes country's welfare. That's the basic premise behind the concept of optimum tariff. Now let us explore what is the real implication behind the optimum tariff. Now we know that when a country imposes tariff, we have seen various effects of tariff in our earlier session. When a country imposes tariff, there can be a number of effects, and we will focus on at least two effects. One, the terms of trade of this country will improve. That means when a large country, because we will be focusing on large country, and when a large country imposes tariff, the terms of trade of tariff imposing country will improve, or there will be an improvement in the terms of trade. Again, at the same time, we know that when there is an imposition of tariff, the total trade, or we can call it as the volume of trade, will decline. So there are two contrasting effects, right? One, when a large country imposes tariff, on the one side, there will be an improvement in the terms of trade of tariff imposing country. At the same time, there will be a reduction in the volume of trade. We have seen in the case of effect of tariff, there will be a substantial reduction in the quantity imported when a country imposes the import tariff. Now, an improvement in the terms of trade itself will have a positive effect, or it itself will have an improvement in the welfare of the country. At the same time, the reduction in the volume of trade will have a negative influence on the volume of trade. So there is an increase in welfare as well as there is a reduction in welfare. Increase in welfare as a result of the improvement in the terms of trade. A reduction in welfare as a result of a decline in the quantity traded, or a decrease in the volume of trade, because as a result of the reduction in the quantity imported. So the effect of tariff, or the effective tariff, or what we call the optimum tariff explores the rate of tariff that maximizes the net benefit from the improvement in the terms of trade and the negative impact as a result of the reduction in the volume of trade. What was that? Optimum tariff explores the rate of tariff that maximizes the net benefit as a result of improvement in the terms of trade and the negative effect as a result of the reduction in the volume of trade. So, simply speaking, optimum tariff is the rate of tariff that maximizes country's welfare. So optimum tariff is nothing but the rate of tariff that maximizes country's welfare, because tariff got at least two effects. One, have a positive influence on welfare, the other having a negative influence on welfare, and the optimum tariff focuses on the rate of tariff, that rate of tariff that maximizes country's welfare. So when a country imposes tariff, for the time being we will start with an assumption that there is no tariff or we have a free trade. When a country imposes tariff, the welfare will increase, and at a particular rate of tariff, that welfare will reach its maximum, its peak. That rate of tariff is known as the optimum tariff. So from a free trade, when a country start imposing tariff, initially welfare will increase and welfare will reach a maximum level, and that rate of tariff corresponding to that maximum level of welfare is known as the optimum tariff. Simply speaking, let us put our explanation by using a diagram. Now, let me put like this. I will have two axes. In the vertical axis, let me measure the welfare of the country, and the horizontal axis, the rate of tariff. Rate of tariff. So, x-axis we have the rate of tariff, y-axis we have the welfare of the country. Now, let us suppose that the rate of tariff is 0. There is no tariff. What was that? That means we will start from the assumption of free trade, no tariff. Now, let us suppose that this country started, say, at this point with a 0 rate of tariff. That means we will start from a situation of what we call the free trade. So, we have a free trade position here. Free trade is nothing but there is no obstruction of trade, there are no restrictions of trade, or in other words, the rate of tariff is 0. So, at this rate of tariff, at 0 rate of tariff, we have a free trade, and this country start imposing tariff from 0.1%, 0.2%, 0.3%, so on. So, the welfare will increase. Yeah, let me like this. The welfare will increase, welfare will increase, welfare will increase. It will reach a maximum, then it will decline. Okay. Now, let me explain the implication of this. So, this is basically a welfare curve. We have a welfare curve, right? At 0 rate of tariff, or in other words, free trade, this is the welfare. When this country start imposing tariff or start increasing or imposing higher and higher rate of tariff, the welfare will increase and welfare will reach. This is a welfare curve. We are measuring welfare here, right? At a particular point or a particular rate of tariff, our welfare will reach the maximum. Our welfare, this is a welfare curve, a welfare will reach maximum. This is known as what? This is known as the optimum tariff. So, optimum tariff once more is the rate of tariff. Optimum tariff is the rate of tariff that maximizes country's welfare. Optimum tariff is the rate of tariff that maximizes country's welfare. See? So, if this country, or particular country in our case, start again imposes tariff, or in fact again started to raise or increase the rate of tariff even after reaching the optimum tariff, you see here welfare will decline. Welfare will decline, and at one particular point the rate of tariff is so high that it reach what we call a prohibitive tariff. This is known as the prohibitive tariff. Prohibitive tariff is such a high rate of tariff, let me call it as prohibitive. This is the prohibitive tariff. What is prohibitive tariff? Prohibitive tariff is nothing but such a high rate of tariff that results in almost zero trade. That means so high rate of tariff which in fact induces the other countries so that they will not send their commodities into our country because tariff rate is so high. So that's why after this prohibitive tariff, a welfare line almost as in something like a perfectly horizontal line. That means after this point we are not talking about any welfare, because after this point there may not be any trade at all, or there may not be any import at all. So this is the concept of optimum tariff. Optimum tariff is the rate of tariff that maximizes country's welfare. So starting from a free trade position, if one country starts imposing tariff, the welfare will increase, and welfare will reach a maximum point, and the rate of tariff corresponding to maximum welfare is known as optimum tariff. If the country continues to impose tariff even after reaching optimum tariff, welfare will reduce, and it will reduce until we reach the prohibitive level of tariff, after which welfare will be essentially constant, because there after prohibitive tariff we are not talking about a situation of import, because prohibitive tariff is a situation in which the tariff rate of tariff is so high so that there may not be any import at all. So we are not talking about welfare after the prohibitive tariff. Now, you can also see that the prohibited tariff is much lesser than the free trade kind of a welfare, right? Free trade welfare is much higher than that of the prohibited tariff. Yeah, obviously. Now, analysis is very simple, right? It's a very simple concept, optimum tariff. But there is a controversy associated with it. Once a country start imposing its own optimum tariff, its terms of trade will improve. We have seen its terms of trade will improve. But the implication that the terms of trade of one country is improving, it also means that the terms of trade of its partner country might be deteriorating. Right? That means terms of trade of country 1 improves means terms of trade of country 2 deteriorate, because it is obviously the reciprocal. So there will be a situation in which one country imposes optimum tariff that maximizes its welfare, it adversely will affect the other country. So it will also start imposing its own optimum tariff. Then there will be a situation in which there will be a reduction or a gradual reduction in the volume of trade, because every tariff, every imposition of tariff, we may not be talking about the optimum tariff or not, every imposition of tariff will reduce the volume of trade. And if the country started engaging in some kind of a battle of fixing optimum tariff, there will be a situation in which the gross volume of trade, the total trade will gradually decline, and it will ultimately end up with a situation of prohibitive tariff. There will not be any trade between countries if all these countries start imposing some kind of an optimum tariff. Now, let us explore this argument by using a figure. Now, let us see that we have a situation like this. Let me put here. No, I will be putting, because since we are going to explore, let's have a situation in which I will be measuring commodity X here, commodity Y here, because just to show the situation in which if all these countries start imposing optimum tariff, the volume of trade will in fact come down, or the entire quantity of trade between countries can come down. Now, we have commodity X here, we have commodity X here, we have commodity X here, we have commodity Y here, and I will be drawing the offer curve of these countries to explain the situation. Now let us say that we have the offer curve, we have the offer curve of country 1, or in fact offer curve of country 2, let us say this, and offer curve of country 1. Let us say that this is the initial equilibrium point. Let me call it as E. Offer curve of country 2, offer curve of country 1, equilibrium position at E. Now let us suppose that the country 2 calculates its optimum tariff and imposes its optimum tariff. Now, then the country 2's offer curve will shift towards here. Let me call it as 2 star. So this will be the new equilibrium point. Let me call it as E star. At free trade, the equilibrium between, or the intersection of these two offer curves took place at point E. Now, after country 2 imposes its own optimum tariff, let us suppose that they calculate their optimum tariff and imposes the optimum tariff, its offer curve shifts to 2 star, and E star is the new equilibrium point. So it will lead to a drastic improvement or a major improvement in the terms of trade of country 2. But we are saying that it also means there will be a sharp reduction in the terms of trade of country 1. They will retaliate, obviously they will retaliate, because it adversely affects their terms of trade, and if they also start imposing optimum tariff, then the country 1's offer curve will shift towards this point. Let me call it as I star, and this will be the new equilibrium point. This will be the new equilibrium point. Let me call it as E double star. See here, when we reach E star, when as a result of country 2 imposing its own optimum tariff, the terms of trade of country 2 is improving. That means that the terms of trade of country 1 is deteriorating. So country 1 will obviously retaliate, and they will impose their own optimum tariff, and their offer curve shift, and this is the new equilibrium point. You observe one point. Initial our equilibrium point is E, then we have E star, then we have E double star. We are moving towards the point of origin. Point of origin means at every imposition of optimum tariff, the volume of trade declines. From E to E star, from E star to E double star, the volume of trade in fact declines. And let us also, if we argue that, then after reaching E double star, country 2 will retaliate, then country 1 will retaliate, and obviously you will end up with 0. There will not be any trade. You will reach a situation of what we call some kind of a prohibitive tariff. So this is the essence, or this is the danger behind by putting the concept of optimum tariff. Now, a related question, we will argue with a related question with respect to the optimum tariff, is that how we can calculate the optimum tariff. In fact, the economist Kindleberger has provided a formula, a methodology of measuring the optimum tariff. He in fact argues that the optimum tariff can be measured by using formula where optimum tariff, let us put it as T, small letter t, is equal to 1 by E minus 1. Professor Kindleberger has provided this kind of a formula of measuring the optimum tariff. Well, T is the optimum tariff, 1 by E minus 1. E is the elasticity coefficient. To be more precise, it is the point elasticity coefficient of foreign countries' offer curve, or our trade partners' offer curve. So, E shows the foreign countries' elasticity of, or the point elasticity of foreign countries' offer curve. Now, as this equation says, there is obviously an opposite relationship between T and E, or there is an inverse relationship between T and E. As the elasticity increases, as E increases, there will be a reduction in T. That means if foreign countries offer curve, or if foreign countries demand is more elastic, that means E increases, is more elastic, then our ability to impose optimum tariff, or the rate of optimum tariff, will reduce. See here, for example, if E is if E is equal to 2. If E is equal to 2, then what will be our value of T? That means that T is equal to 1 by 2 minus 1, which will be T can be equal to 100%, or the optimum tariff can be equal to 100%. Now, let us say if E is equal to 3, if E is equal to 3, that means that 1 by 3 minus 1, it is 1 by 2, that means that T will be equal to only 50%. See here, as the value elasticity coefficient increases, as the elasticity coefficient increases, as E increases, there is a reduction in the optimum tariff. If E is equal to 2, optimum tariff can be, the rate of tariff can be 100%, while if T is equal to 3, it can only be 50%. If 4, it can be equal to 25%, and so on. So, there is an inverse, or there is an opposite relationship between the rate of optimum tariff, which is T, and the elasticity coefficient. That it's very simple. Argument is very simple. If foreign countries' demand is highly elastic, then your ability to impose optimum tariff will decline. So that's all as far as the concept of optimum tariff. So once more, optimum tariff explains the rate of tariff. It implies the rate of tariff that maximizes countries' welfare. After optimum tariff, the welfare will reduce, it can even reach the prohibitive. Now, the issue with the optimum tariff is that if countries start imposing their own optimum tariff, then the volume of trade can reduce and in fact even reach a situation of autarky, where there will not be any trade between countries. Autarky means there is no trade between countries. Now, Kindleberger has provided this equation of optimum tariff, where T, which is optimum tariff, equals 1 by E minus 1, where E is the elasticity coefficient of foreign countries of a curve. So that's all as far as optimum tariff is concerned. Hope that this session is useful to you. So until we meet next time, stay safe, happy learning. Thank you.